always been an artist. And it sounds really nice when somebody calls me that. What actually happened is that I just discovered coloring and design, and in the process started a coloring epidemic. And I'm going to be telling you the story today. The first person who ever pushed that little colorful button in my heart was my mother. She wasn't an artist herself, but she was a creative person. She was cheerful and very joyful, and she would have me color on anything, even walls and furniture, and then she would put my art all over the house for display. She even kept it until recently just to show off. I asked her about anything that had to do with my life. She was my best friend, and as I grew up, I was appointed the decorator and the colorist of the house. I grew up to be the leading fashion presenter in Egypt in the 90s. I also was a lifestyle editor at one leading fashion magazine. I had my TV show, and I started speaking publicly in local and international events. Recently, I spoke at Harvard and the Swedish Royal Palace and different prestigious places. All the while running back to my mother with my worst problems, like, what can I wear for this important event? You know, the girly problems we all have. So try to imagine what happened to me, what happened to my world when she suddenly left our world. It happened at the worst 10 years of my life, at the end of the worst 10 years of my life, with so many challenges, including my divorce. I had a lot of support from family and friends and even my online followers. I have a big community online, but at the end of the day, there came a time when I had to fend for myself, when I had to find my own feet on my own and learn to live without my best friend. Grief is a very tough test to human resilience. It either makes you or breaks you. I love psychology, but I had no idea I would be hit with the full force of all the symptoms of grief, including forgetfulness. That's why I have carried this here. And as well, the worst thing that ever happened to me after that was that I literally lost words. Now, I'm a writer, speaker, and trainer. To be unable to articulate my thoughts is a disaster for me, it's torture. But that's what happened to me. For almost a year, I was unable to express myself. I struggled to express myself, which is something I have never experienced before. So I was scared. I wanted to find my old self again. I wondered if I had changed forever. And I desperately needed an alternative way of expressing myself that did not include words. I tried everything I used to like before. Exercise, music, traveling, going out, even cooking. I love cooking as well. Nothing worked. I had to find a very strong alternative. So I thought if my mother was alive, she would want me to go on living happily, as I always did. And I thought, what made her happy? And I discovered that colors and beauty made her happy. But I didn't know what to do. The day I made that realization, I got an email from a friend in New York. She sent me some circular geometric designs. I had no idea what they were. And she thought I would like them. I actually did. And I just stared at them for a long time. I wanted to know how they were made. And then on a whim, I just decided to print one of them and color it. Now, we are a very technological family. We've been using iPads and laptops and smartphones ever since they were invented. So to find coloring pencils in the house was impossible. I kept on looking and looking. And this is the only thing that I found. Okay, so it's working. This is what I found. A stubble pencil. And it actually belonged to my mother. She was the only one who was still using pencils in the house. So just for fun, I shaded that drawing, and I even added a little bit to the drawing as well. And for fun, I posted it on my Facebook for my followers to have a good laugh. And this is what it looked like. What actually happened is that they loved it, and they asked me how it was made, and they wanted me to show them how it was made, and to show them more. Well, self-help gurus would usually tell you to dream big and aim for the stars and this kind of thing. What I actually do is the total opposite. What I actually do is start small and convince myself I'm doing it just for fun. And then I start producing miracles. Because I start producing professional quality with an amateur's enthusiasm. So every day, I went and bought a box of colors, the little kit stuff, and I started coloring every day, patterns I found online. Anything. I colored anything I found online every day. And I started putting it online, and people loved it. And they were giving me this steam with their encouragement to keep on trying. Meanwhile, depression was the national sport in this town. Everybody was depressed, everybody was sad, negative energy was floating in the air, you could almost touch it. People were just exchanging bad news online. And then my mother's legacy came back to me. I was thinking, how many people need the same cheer that I had? I wonder if there is something I could do to help people improve their mood and be happy, like it worked for me. Because when I was coloring, every stroke took my mind away from things. I was completely absorbed. And I found that I could express myself in the shapes and the colors. So I thought, there's probably a lot of people here that needed this. And so I thought, what about art? How about if I teach people that? So I started the first online competition for coloring in Egypt through my Facebook page. Every Friday, I put the pattern I was coloring for people on my Facebook so that they can download it and color it during the week. And then at the end of the week, they posted it, we rated it, and then we pronounced the winners. And it was amazingly cheerful. I really loved what was happening. So I wanted to fight the increasing rates of depression through art. I wanted people to be cheerful. We don't study art in school, as you know, and we think art is for children. And I think you can see the result in the ugliness around us everywhere, not only in the buildings and in the streets, but also in people's behavior. I wanted to help change that. I could see that people were polarized, they hated each other because of their differences. I wanted to help change that by teaching them to create art together and be happy about it. And this is what I was trying to do through my online competition. A couple of weeks later, when it was working and everybody was happy, I thought, wait a minute, let's up the challenge. How about if I learn to draw my geometric designs myself? Now let me tell you that I hate math. And I hate geometry. I'm really bad. How many of you hate math? Everybody. So I'm sorry for all the engineers and architects in the audience. So I just hated it. And I thought, this is the challenge I needed, because this is something that is going to take my mind off things and really make me focus more. So I tried. I went online, found a tutorial, and my first attempt was a total disaster. So what I did is post it online, and I told my followers, I failed. Look at my failure. And I was very surprised. They said, I've never seen a successful person share failure with us before. And I told my message to you is, failure is the first step of success. You have to fail to succeed. And if you never failed, it means you've never done anything worthwhile. But now I was stuck. I had my back to the wall. I told the people I was going to be succeeding, and so I had to do it. For 2 weeks, I worked really, really hard, and I finally did it. And in the next competition, we actually used my first real design in the next online contest we had online. This is exactly when I was offered to teach people how to draw geometric design in an art center. So try to imagine, only 6 weeks after putting pen to paper for the first time, I was standing there teaching people. I wasn't proficient enough. They were afraid of art like the rest of you. And I had to find a way. So I went to my trainer's experience, and I tried to simplify and shorten the learning process so that even beginners could join us. And I used psychology. I showed them, I believed in them. And what happened after that was a miracle. All of them turned into artists overnight, no matter what background they came from, no matter what age. And this was very exhilarating for me. The workshops at that point were all over town, all over Egypt, in Cairo and in Alexandria, and I was asked to do them abroad as well. Corporations asked me to make stress management workshops using art. And so at that point I thought a book is very logical. I should put my designs in a book and sell it as the first coloring book for adults in Egypt. I started approaching publishers. Guess what happened? They laughed at me. They said, you're crazy. Egyptians, grown-ups, coloring? You're nuts. These people, they want to eat. And if they're not eating, if they buy a book, it has to be a romantic novel. You know, go write The Blue Elephant. Then you'll be a bestseller. But coloring books for adults? No. We don't have a market for this here. They didn't think they could sell 1,000 copies in a year. I kept on trying and sending publishing proposals, which was a big mistake because it leaked to the wrong person. And they produced my idea in such a very poor quality. I cried when I saw it. I was devastated. People were waking up to the trend, so they went to the internet, downloaded free patterns, put it in what they called the book, and just started selling it. So I was furious because I started this, and somebody else was catching in with very poor quality. I could have accepted defeat and disappointment. I could have stood there and said, well, okay, so this is what happens here. You work hard, somebody steals your effort, and c'est la vie, it's bad luck or bad business or whatever. Or I could listen to my father. He was a lightweight boxer in college, and he taught me the one kind of success that he recognized: the knockout. So that's exactly what I decided to do, except I had a heavyweight knockout waiting for these people. I sat and designed 40 unique designs in my signature style that you can find online, and this is how the Book of Joy was born. After just 2 months of its release, it became a bestseller. After a few more months, I released part 2, which was also a bestseller. Try to imagine that after 6 months of ever trying to color or design, I was a best-selling author of the first original mandala design coloring book for adults in Egypt and the Middle East. Eventually, I started Cairo Coloring Club as well to gather all those coloring enthusiasts in one place, where we exchanged ideas and tips about coloring, and where my workshops were happening. And I was no longer helping myself here. There were a lot of people involved now, dependent on me. Very different people came to my workshops, very unexpected audience. Senior ladies, can you believe that your grandmother goes to learn geometric design and coloring? Entire families came. The workshop is for adults. They brought their kids anyway, and it was fantastic because they took that spirit home. But my best achievement by far is convincing Egyptian men to try coloring and design. How many of you are willing to do that after this session? Not too many. I also offered my workshop abroad in different corporations and schools and universities. We colored not only in my book, but also on walls and doors and different things. And people sent me amazing stories about how coloring and art had affected their lives. There was a lady, I walked in one of the workshops, one of the women, as soon as I walked in, she said, listen, I hate coloring, I hate art, I came because my friends came. So forget about me, go on, talk to people, and I'm not going to be listening, I'm not going to be participating. Guess what happened? As soon as I went home that day, I found a message from her on Cairo Coloring Club with a picture of an entire panel in her wall that she had actually doodled and colored herself. I had pictures from doctors and teams of medical teams coloring in between surgeries to de-stress. I got pictures from mothers showing me the entire family sitting around their dining table, and you can see all those things on Cairo Coloring Club, coloring together as a quality family time instead of just staring at screens together. A cancer survivor sent me that she was using what she learned in the workshop to help women with chemotherapy. So there was this amazing feeling going on, and people were sharing their coloring on Cairo Coloring Club, interpreting my designs in different ways. Psychology professionals can tell you more how stress is released through simple arts and crafts and how that is important for your mental health. What I can do is show you physical proof. I take pictures of people after we finish, and I call it the happy portrait. So right here, you're looking at the big smiles that show you very clearly that their mood has changed. There is no question about that. At that point, I had started experimenting with coloring my designs on different mediums, not just paper. And people loved the pictures when I put them on Facebook and Instagram. So I thought, okay, this is when my design label was born, Joy by Sahar and El-Nadi, for clients who wanted me to color, hand color crafts and things for their homes and their offices and clinics, signed by the artist and tailored to their taste. But then I thought, wait a minute, we don't have a DIY culture here in Egypt. We go to the store, we pay a lot of money, and we buy stuff. We don't sit and do it ourselves. And so I thought this is the level 2 challenge for people who came to my workshops. Let me teach them how to color my designs on different things. So they come to the workshop, they learn how to do it, and then they get more stuff to take home and make things themselves. More fun, a lot more value than anything you buy at the store. I'm actually wearing one of my hand-colored designs right here, something I never imagined I would do only a year before. So after all this, my happiest moment is when my workshop participants come to me with gifts they have made themselves, with their own designs, that say things like, thank you for spreading joy, or you made us happy, and things like that. One day, at a bookstore in Cairo, I was very sad because a lot of people were trying to copy my work in poor quality. the store manager took me aside and he said, look at this corner with all the adult coloring books that is now a standard feature of all the major bookstores in Egypt. Just think, you started this. And not only did you make many of us rich by selling your book and your products, you actually made a lot of people happy at a time when joy was like a dream in this place. Now that's all the recognition I need. I love my new job. I sell joy. This is when I realized I had actually found my ikigai. That's a Japanese concept about finding a reason to wake up in the morning, something to wake up for every morning. And it happens from doing something you love, that people need, and are willing to pay you for it. But how did it happen? Just a couple of days ago, I read a psychological research about how your relationship with your mother could influence your success. I think I'm living proof. Her love gave me life even after hers had ended. This transformational year taught me many important things that I want to share with you here today before I go. I did this for my mother in just 1 year, all of this. And from this, I learned things about happiness, about failure, about grief, and about joy. I learned that happiness is an inside job. Never trust that to anybody else. You make yourself happy. I learned that failure is definitely the first step of success. I learned that grief could easily be colored into joy. And I learned that joy could be a full-time job you can be paid for. But also, something very important, that when you decide to take the first step, the road starts showing. So start right here, right now, with whatever you have, even if it's a little pencil stub. I used to watch a funny TV show long ago, a cooking TV show, with a funny Chinese chef. His name was Yan. And he used to end every episode with the same catchphrase. He used to say, if Yan can cook, so can you.